Where are my binoculars, Tarquin?
Here they are, sir.
Woo!
Oi, you muddy fugglers! Get in here, sit down, we're going to read some news. Smartphones have been dominating since their release, really. 15, 16 years ago, everyone has one. If you don't have a smartphone, you're not part of the modern world now. But will our smartphones, will our devices always be such? Or are discussions of doing away with apps and having devices that are just AI run become a reality? Is there basically an upheaval in the way that we're delivered content on the horizon? Well, I think so. And this article on GeekWire, written by Todd Bishop, inside Microsoft's Project Solara, a new platform for devices that run AI agents instead of apps. Presumably these agents are apps though. I'm not exactly sure how this will work out. A team inside Microsoft has been quietly building a platform for decades that run AI agents instead of apps, based on Android instead of Windows, with 2 working hardware designs so far and an initial set of big-name companies lined up to run pilots. The platform, dubbed Project Solara, is Microsoft's bet that AI will open up entirely new scenarios for computing, using agents to avoid the constraints of traditional software and off-the-shelf components to develop new devices quickly and inexpensively. Microsoft is racing against Google, Amazon, OpenAI and others to bring AI devices and provide the technical backbone for a new generation of computing. In effect, the company is attempting to repeat with AI what it did for personal computers 5 decades ago, with much stiffer competition this time, but also far greater technical freedom. Boundaries are collapsing, said Steve Bathish, the Microsoft Corporate Vice President and Technical Fellow who leads its Applied Sciences group. You don't necessarily need the traditional app model. You don't need the traditional way of developing experiences. The company unveiled Solara on Tuesday at its Build conference in San Francisco, describing it as a new platform that spans from chip to cloud. GeekWire got a behind-the-scenes look at the project during a brief last week in Redmond, including demos of the first 2 concept devices based on the platform. Does it need to have this big blobby thing up there? I don't like that. A desktop hub that sits beside a PC and responds to voice commands, signs users in using facial recognition and surfaces the day's most pressing items. With a monitor attached, becomes a full Windows machine running in the cloud. Or a wearable badge that reimagines the standard employee ID card. A fingerprint button wakes the agent in one press, a single tap records and transcribes a conversation, and a built-in camera lets agents act on what the user sees. Okay, would you really want that on you all the time dangling about? Microsoft says it won't ship these devices itself. Instead, it envisions hardware makers and other industry partners turning the reference designs into implementations of their own, each intended for a specific industry, company, or scenario. For example, in one demo shown by the company, the high-tech badge ran on agents designed for use by a healthcare worker, including the ability to scan a patient's QR code, record and transcribe the visit, log vitals, and start a prescription. The most successful designs are going to be the ones that are applicable to all walks of life. So this dangle thing can jog off, but having a button, that looks very reminiscent of the next generation's communication devices that were just something they tapped on their chest. So that, I imagine, could be useful, or other kind of wearable clothing, maybe a watch. People like wearing watches. Tap your watch like Dick Tracy. In another application of the same badge, the built-in camera scanned a brainstorm board with ideas for an office revamp and made a suggestion: add some plants. The 2 devices are a starting point. The bigger opportunity, the company says, is all the tasks and workflows where a PC or phone gets in the way or isn't practical to use. See, something like that combined with like the Meta glasses, some kind of visual heads-up display might actually be pretty useful. But on their own, I'm not sure. I mean, you're talking to it, it talks back, but how it's useful to see stuff and, interact with things. A display inside the Microsoft Applied Sciences lab gave a hint of where things could be headed, including smart glasses, rings, earbuds, scanners, and other form factors. This is a way to put computing in those spaces easily and cheaply, but more importantly, it's a way to put your agent into those spaces. Bathish said, is that how you say your name? In the coming months, companies including AccuWeather, Best Buy, CVS Health, Levi's, and Target are expected to begin pilots of devices based on the reference designs. The operating system is the Microsoft Device Ecosystem Platform. or MDEP, an enterprise version of Android that Microsoft developed for devices including Teams meeting room hardware. The company says it chose MDEP over Windows deliberately to run on smaller, lower-power devices while keeping the management and security features IT departments expect. Patch and over-the-air updates, device integrity, Microsoft Defender, Intune, and extra ID sign-in. Well, I don't know what all those things are, but I imagine it doesn't need to process much on device. A lot of it will be happening in the cloud. What's the difference? At a first glance, the concept devices raise a couple of natural questions. Why not just use a phone? Bathach said companies have tried, particularly in healthcare, and it didn't go well. Asking a nurse to pull up patient data on a personal device felt wrong to patients and created security problems. Maybe it's a company device. A purpose-built device, he said, has a far smaller attack surface, can last a week on a single charge, and can orient its camera for face-to-face interaction rather than forcing the user to hold up a screen. Computers are continuing to specialize, he said, describing a trend he has been calling out for years now. Computers are continuing to come closer to you. See, if you really want to make use of a computer fully, you need a monitor. If you're using a laptop, okay, you've got your keyboard installed already, but you might want a mouse and a keyboard anyway. So to have a full computing experience, you need multiple things. So I would imagine something like this would be cool if you had a badge and glasses, or maybe just glasses in your phone, or some combination of that, which we seem to have at the moment. Number 2, isn't the desk device basically an Amazon Echo? Here, Bathach drew a distinction. Alexa is one agent trying to do everything, while Solara is designed for each organization's own agents, secured and managed by its IT department. Okay, so different apps, different AI agents could be installed. They sound like apps to me. I mean, you can install AI apps on your phone and talk to them. The practical difference was visible in the demo. The desk hub pairs with a PC over Bluetooth, hands off tasks between the two and keeps them locked in sync. Oh, it does. That's pretty cool. So it's a bit like the Claude bot, but an official product you can buy. Interesting. An Echo shows sitting next to the same PC wouldn't know it was there, pushing the timeline. Still, the project is very early by Microsoft's own admission. Bathach said CEO Satya Nadella liked what the team was doing and suggested showing it a build this week. Much sooner, the company would normally show its behind-the-scenes work in public. That underscores just how competitive and fast-moving the AI world is right now, but it also illustrates the pace that the new technologies are enabling. For example, Bathach said the team got the badge running on a platform in about 3 days, using the same software as the desk device on a different chipset from a different company. Yet some fundamental details still need to be figured out. Asked by GeekWire about the business model for the platform, Bathach pointed to one clear piece. The devices run on Microsoft's Azure cloud. Beyond that, he said the economics are still taking shape. Even the potential scenarios are in the preliminary stages. For example, Bathach said the healthcare demo was designed to illustrate the concept, not to serve as an actual clinical tool. Yeah, we know it's a demo. The devices can run multiple agents at once with a coordination layer that taps whichever agent a task requires. Microsoft offers its own agents, including Microsoft 360 Copilot, but the platform is designed for organizations to use other agents as well. Qualcomm and Meditech are the first chip partners. The badge runs on a new Qualcomm wearable chip. The desk hub runs on a Meditech IoT silicon. Both are off-the-shelf, not custom, which is central to how Microsoft plans to keep devices cheap and fast to build. Notably, OpenAI's reported AI agent phone is also being developed on MediaTek and Qualcomm silicon, underscoring the competition emerging in this category. For Bathach, Solara is a bet on what the next computer looks like. What is the next thing that comes close to you, he asked. That, he contends, is where computing is ultimately going. All right. I still don't quite understand why this is special compared to other things other than it pairs with your machine, which is a good idea. I guess they have these other phantom devices as possible other applications. The glasses, I think, are a big deal. I think that is important. But I would argue having a lot of the processing or whatever away from your head would be a good thing. So I don't exactly see why we'd need to have something more than a smartphone and a pair of glasses for this to work, because the glasses would be able to pick up your hand motions and use those to interact with stuff. So it's a bit of a mystery why we need this as it is. I mean, there's going to be more AI and more apps on our smartphones, and those smartphones will pair with other devices. I imagine glasses are a good start for that. We like to see stuff, don't we? But having a agent next to you, that's probably a good idea as well. But I wonder if you could just build that into a monitor, a computer monitor, and have it as an AI overlay on the operating system that you're using, or just include it in the... Why this? Why are you having this? You're simplifying stuff, which is good. I'm not sure. Yeah, why is this different to Alexa? I'm not sure this is going to be a crashing wave on devices that we're using, but I think we are going to have a lot more wearable tech. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you hit that like button if you like me. If you don't like me, then why are you here? Nobody knows. But that is it. I have nothing more to say, except Pigwig out.
Oink, oinkity, snort, snuffle, snuffle, squee, oink, oink, ree, squeal, snort, snort, oinkity, squee. Oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, ree, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinkity, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 ree, 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 oh. Snort, snuffle, oink, squee, squeal, ree, snort. Oinkity, oinkity, oink, oink, snuffle, ree, squee, snort, oink, squeal. Oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, ree, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinkity, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 ree, 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 oh. Oink, oinkity, snort, snuffle, snuffle, squee, oinkity, oink, oink, snuffle, ree, squee, snort, oink, squeal. Oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, ree, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinkity, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 ree, 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 oh. Squeal, squeal. Snort, shuffle, oink, ree, squeal, ree, snort, oinky, oinkity, oink, 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 snuffle, ree, squee, snort, oink, squeal, oink, oink, oinkity, squee, squee, ree, 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 snuffle, snort, squeal, squeal, oinky, oink, snort, snort, squee, oink, 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 ree, 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 oh. Squeal, squeal, snort, snuffle, oink.